Okay, and what we want to do in this video is give another reason, more evidence, and another example of why production is wealth. And what I'm trying to do throughout this series and throughout all of these videos on economics is to essentially not exactly repeat myself, but to give different examples in the hope that if I explain the same thing in a number of different ways, one, repetition will help stick in your mind, and two, if you don't understand one way that I explain it, hopefully the next way you will. So as I said, we're still on the series of money and wealth, and this is in the introduction section into the economics course, and we're just going to go on to again why production is real wealth in the economy. Now, we have said it already that production is real wealth in the economy, and we've also said that the wealth of a nation depends on the quality and the quantity of goods and services that it produces. So the more goods and services that it produces, or more goods and services that are produced within a country, and the higher the value of these goods and services that are produced in a country, the richer that country is. So the only way to remove poverty is to increase the quantity and quality. And what we mean by quality of goods and services, the value of them, what they're capable of doing or what they're capable of providing for the consumer. So if we look at this, and we in the first world would not be used to this standard of living, and luckily, and that's absolutely fantastic that we're not used to this standard of living on the whole, on the most part. But don't forget that if we go back, 2,000-3,000 years, we were all, essentially in the cave. So how did we in the first world get from a situation similar to this here to essentially this, which is in London, the situation of a standard of living? How can we consume as much as we can consume now, as opposed to situations in poor parts of the world? Okay, this is a very important photograph here. This is actually barefoot children on their way to work in Dublin in the late 19th century. And I mean, there's literally so much wrong with that from a modern day point of view. First of all, they're walking around in their bare feet. Okay, I mean, that's the first thing. They literally can't even afford shoes. And the next thing is, these kids look like, 7 or 8, some of them even younger, and they're on their way to work. They're not going to school. They don't have the opportunity of education. If we look at the next photograph again, something similar. Supposedly Industrial Revolution children without shoes on their feet. And again, look at how young they are. And where are they? That certainly doesn't look like a school to me. That looks like they're in a factory. And that's because they are in a factory. They're working. And this photograph was taken, during one of their breaks. So how do we get from a situation from this to a situation like this, which is modern Ireland today? Now, granted, these are very nice houses. They're not the norm for everybody. Granted, all that's true. But how do we get from a situation where we have children that are going to work in their bare feet to children that are in school using iPads as a general way of doing education? How do we get, though, from there to here? And even more important again, because of the increase in their standard of living, because of our increases in production that has allowed increases in consumption, we have situations where we have young lads being able to completely forego work and just concentrate on playing a game. Here it's rugby union, and this is Ireland under 20s. So they're not even need to work. They can concentrate much later on in life on literally a sport, a pastime, a game. Now, granted, that can become work for other people as they get through, become a professional rugby player, professional sports person or whatever. But still, we have gone from a situation where we have children going to work in their bare feet at the ages of 8 and 9 and 10 to a situation where we have 20-year-olds just concentrating on a game. What has allowed that change in standard of living, that change in general lifestyle from them then to now? Well, we've said it, it's production. So let's give another example. We have this one individual here, okay? And let's say for the moment, at least, he's on his own. I'll relax that assumption, in a minute or two. And he's got nothing, but he manages to cook himself a steak. Now, you may, and it's a fair question, you may say, oh, hold on a second, I thought he got nothing, now he has a steak, where did he get it from? Okay, sometimes in these examples you have to suspend disbelief. It's a model, a simplified replication of reality in order to try and emphasize and prove and show a certain point. But we'll say that he managed to, he found a cow and slaughtered it and managed to cook himself a steak. Is he better off? Yes, absolutely. Is he richer? Absolutely. Why? He is consuming more material things. That is our definition of wealth. That is our definition of rich. And if your consumption increases, you have become richer, or at least less poor. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let's say then that I don't, of course, have any idea how, but he manages to build himself a car. I mean, one of the most incredible things that he could do on his own, but still, he manages to build himself a car. Is he better off? Yes, absolutely. Now he can get from A to B much quicker and travel much further. Is he richer? Yes. Why? Because he's consuming more things. When he has this car now, he's consuming driving services. That allows him a higher material standard of living, and as such, he's richer. This steak was produced, made him richer. This car was produced, made him richer. Then let's assume now that he manages to build himself a house. Again, these are just, ridiculous examples, but designed to show a point rather than be absolutely realistic. But he manages to build himself a house. Is he better off? Absolutely. Now he's outside. He's out of the elements and he is inside. He is. And is he richer? Yes, because he's consuming housing services. Okay, so the production of the steak, the car, and the house have made him richer. Now, at no stage have we talked about money. Not once this video yet. So let's just say that he's gotten bored. Now he's well fed. He's traveled all he wants and he's living in a nice house. He decides to make himself some money. Okay, is he better off? Not really. No. Is he richer? Not really. Okay, so this is the weird thing, and I'm trying to show you that it comes down to production. So we have to ask ourselves, when he produced the steak, produced the car, produced the house, was he richer? Absolutely yes, because his consumption rose. Now we gave him money. He's not richer at all, because he can't buy anything, because it is simply only him in the economy, and he hasn't produced anything yet. So no, he's not richer. If we leave him with all the money, but we take away the steak, we take away the car, and we take away the house, is he richer? No. So again, and I understand your potential reservations here. You're saying, hold on a second here. People like Steve Jobs, who's passed on now, people like Bill Gates, people like Mark Zuckerberg, all these people are rich because they have loads of money. Well, that is true in a sense, and I'll go on to give another example in a later video why it's only half of the argument, or half of the reason that they're rich. Okay, so what is money? Money is just pieces of paper with patterns printed on it. The thing that gives money value is what it can buy. And now that we've said, okay, instead of the production of these other goods, the steak, the car, and the house, he just spent all his time making money, i.e. printing up notes. He's not better off. It can't give him any value simply because it can't buy anything. So if we remove production, money is worthless, and as such buys you nothing. Okay, so we're back to it. What our definition of rich or well off is that you can consume a lot. And the only reason that you can consume anything is if you or somebody else has produced it in the first place. That's the most important thing. Money is only a means of trading for goods and services. It only facilitates trade between two people. Okay, but it is the production that is the real wealth in the economy. And if you want to take it up level it a bit, is production that gives value to money. So now we're going to just get away from a one-person example and to a three-person example. And I will bring money in again in a later video. Okay, so we've got three people. They're on their own. Okay, person 1, 2, and 3, as we can see along here. They have nothing. They're literally living in a cave. Okay, so what can they do? Well, let's say they manage to build a house between them. All right, absolutely fantastic. This is again ridiculous example of a house that they could probably build. We haven't even given them any tools or anything yet, but still the point is we suspend disbelief and say, okay, they managed to build themselves a house. Are they better off? Yes, absolutely. They're inside. They have shelter from the elements, so on and so forth. Absolutely, they're better off. Are they richer? Yes, because they're consuming housing services. They're each consuming 1/3 of this house. What's the only thing that could make them richer? Well, more production. So instead of one house between the three of them, they now have one house each. They have more space, more room, more privacy, and if they get lonely, they can go and visit their neighbor. All right. So it is production of the first house that yielded them a higher standard of living, and then it is the increase in production of houses that yielded them a higher standard of living again. And then they say, right, we're bored just hanging around here, let's make a car. And they have to share this car because there's only one. And, you know, they're happy enough to share everything because they all know each other and they're all friends. And they say, okay, right, so what do? Do they take it like 2 days a week and then each person every third Sunday? Well, the only way to increase that has, by the way, increased their standard of living. It has made them richer, access to transport. Okay, 100%. But the thing is, the only way to make them richer in that regard is greater amounts of production. Now they're not reliant on having it, 1/3 of the week. They can have their own car and travel anywhere they want to every day. Provided they have enough petrol, so on and so forth. And where do we get petrol from? Let's not ask difficult questions in this example. All we are saying is that production is providing extra wealth, and if more petrol was produced, they would be extra wealthy again. Okay, then what we're saying is another thing that they could add is a TV, and then they're all say, come over to my house, or I don't know how they would ration it out. But one of them says, come over to my house to watch TV, and then this person wants to watch soap operas, this person wants to watch movies, and this person wants to watch sport. A way that they could increase their standard of living and again become richer is through production. If more of these TVs are produced, if more of these cars are produced, if more of these houses are produced, there are more of these goods to share around. That means that on average, each person is richer. Where did their wealth come from? Where did their increased opportunity for consumption come from? This wealth, this increased consumption came from one word. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again: production. Production is wealth. Without production, nothing exists. If nothing exists, money is worthless. So that's the, I suppose, second and third examples of why production is wealth.